This one is exploring the SCP Foundation, SCP-3000, the ginormous fucking eel that makes you go crazy. Bada boom, bada bing.
The SCP Foundation is aware of a number of entities that could be considered gods, or godlike in some way. Some of these are actually contained by them, while others are uncontainable, either existing outside of our physical dimension or for some other reason. Its status as something godlike is debatable, which we'll discuss later. Simply put, SCP-3000 is a massive eel located in the Bay of Bengal. Since it rarely moves, the Foundation simply patrols the region of the bay where it's located and prevents any diving expeditions in the area.
I think that's what's creepy about this thing too, is it doesn't move. It just sits there and drives people crazy. But the coolest part is it's only if you know about it. If you don't know about it, you could just sail right over it, no problem. But if you know, the second you know anything about it, it starts driving you crazy.
It was discovered in 1971 after a number of Bangladeshi fishermen went missing after drifting near the Indian coast, and the Foundation stepped in to investigate. Its biology is not well understood by the Foundation, but they hypothesize that it doesn't actually require any sustenance in order to continue living, but it is carnivorous. It's unknown exactly what happens to prey it consumes, but during feeding, 3000 excretes a thin layer of a viscous substance that the Foundation has dubbed Y909. Its existence as a massive eel,
when it
hundreds
eats,
of
it just secretes
long,
black cum
would
into the
certainly
water.
classify it as an SCP alone, much like SCP-169, but that's only the beginning of its anomalous traits. We've discussed cognitohazards a few times before, anomalous effects that can alter an individual's mind or way of thinking, and SCP-3000 itself is a cognitohazard. Direct observation of it will result in head pain, paranoia, fear, panic, and memory loss or alteration, and even being in a certain vicinity of the eel can result in these effects. These effects are further described in a log discussing the initial discovery and encounter with SCP-3000. A team descended in a submersible, and all of them were feeling uneasy, but one
This
in
is what
particular
happens.
began
It's the
sweating
Titan Gate.
profusely,
The
stating that
Titan,
he was
Ocean Gate,
missing
Titan.
something, but he couldn't figure out what. He begins to act more erratically as they descend, expressing doubts about what exactly he's supposed to do down there. Other members of the team began to express similar feelings. When they finally saw the body of the eel, the erratic individual began whimpering and had to be sedated as he muttered the word "no" over and over.
Oh, dude, nothing is scarier than somebody just going, no, 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 just out of nowhere. Oh, dude, that would be so fucking scary. Like, anytime you're watching a horror movie and somebody's just like, no, 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 no. It's like, oh, fuck. Like, when they're, like, possessed or something. Oh, that's so scary.
Several other members were complaining about feeling hazy, unsure of what they were doing here. The captain wrote it off as nitrogen intoxication. SCP-3000 turned its head to look at them, and the sedated member began barking and shrieking, claiming that it was in its head, until he smashed his face into one of the potholes, and they had to ascend due to the cracks.
So crazy.
He had mortally injured himself, and as he lay dying, he said, "There's nothing, nothing, nothing." Despite this incident, a diving expedition was ordered to personally assess the creature and investigate the source of the thick gray fluid that had been
I
observed
personally
around its head.
think something like this that gets into your head and fucks with you is much more scary than like something coming after you trying to kill you. Like something that can just make you lose your shit is insane.
But other problems began almost immediately, as the team becomes confused over their call signs, both mixing up who has what designation, and one of them even being confused by the word designation. The leader also addresses someone back at the command station who had been dead.
It's because you have ground game? That's
Regardless,
true. That's
command
true.
tells the team to continue to
honestly, if I came across SCP-3000, I'd hit him with a blast double and then put him in a rear naked and choke him out. Easy.
Each of them are completely confused about where they are. As they continue approaching, one of the members begins to utter ominous phrases concerning oblivion and dark eyes.
He'd be done. He'd be done.
SCP-3000 begins to rapidly approach them.
And with a straight right,
go silent for
maybe a leg kick thrown in there, blast double, he's gone, dude. It's just, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
And one of the members has been eaten.
He doesn't know I have a gold medal for a white belt tournament in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
And what he's doing.
Good luck, pal.
He soon gets eaten as well. Only one of the team remains, and he still seems to be somewhat coherent, claiming that it's extremely difficult to form thoughts well near 3000.
He's done, fo.
He says that it's coiled inside of his head, and that it's just sitting there in front of him. He sees the fluid seeping out of its skin around its head, and he goes to retrieve a sample,
Body
sending
kick to
it
the
up
liver.
towards the
He's gone.
surface.
He's
He
fucking
finishes
done.
by saying not to send anyone else out here. His breathing could be heard over his radio for 3 days before ceasing. The SCP-3000 is a thaumial entity, meaning it somehow assists the SCP Foundation in their operations. And you may be wondering how a giant eel that messes with your head does so. The answer is in
That's
the
true.
gray
There
fluid
could just be a
excreted
language
from the
barrier
entity,
there.
called the Y909
There could just be a language
compound.
barrier. Like maybe he
The
speaks
Foundation-
in like supersonic waves and he's just like, I'm trying to tell you guys I'm a good guy. That's why I'm not attacking you in your head. I'm just sitting there. Why are you guys going crazy? It probably is a language barrier.
Utilizes a
That's
large
a good
number of amnestics during their work, chemicals that cause an individual to forget certain things. These chemicals are vital for keeping the secrecy of the Foundation and the SCPs intact, as well as helping many
Fucking
SCP
right to the
personnel
solar plexus.
cope with things they have experienced. For a number of years, the
I think it's funny
Foundation's
too that
amnestics
these are not SCP-3000. Like I think he just looked up dragons, water dragons, and was like, "This will do." He's got a good narration though.
breaking down
Damn.
really quickly in storage, causing a number of side effects, and had often questionable efficacy overall. The inclusion of the Y909 compound has greatly increased the stability and effectiveness of the Foundation's amnestics, however, allowing them to store for much longer, a significant decrease in side effects, an increase in suggestibility and memory clearance, and little to no intrusive memories years after their use. The Foundation has come to completely rely on the Y909 compound, with no means to synthetically reproduce it, and so the ATZAC protocol is introduced. The protocol is
King
simple
Gordon
enough.
versus
It
SCP.
involves
Probably King Gordon.
deliberately feeding a
If he gets his
sedated
back,
gas
it's
to
over.
SCP-3000, which causes it to excrete the Y909 compound.
He'll hook him.
A specialized team of deep-sea divers then approach the entity within 2.5 hours after feeding, during which its cognitohazard effects are lessened. They collect as much as they can of the fluid and return to the surface. The rest of the SCP-3000 report concerns 2 doctors, a researcher,
Take him to
Dr.
deep water and
Krishnamurthy,
make him tap.
and his staff
I
clinical
take him to
psychologist,
deep waters and he
Dr.
discovers
Manala.
himself.
The psychologist was
Who the hell
assigned
is
to the
this guy?
researcher after he attempted to exit out of the SCP-3000
What a
monitoring
fucking
submarine
name. Dr. Venkatraman Krishnamurthy.
without
Damn.
diving equipment.
Fish bad ground game.
The researcher begins discussing
Yeah,
how he feels
Khabib would fuck
tired,
him up.
and his body is beginning to feel disconnected from his mind.
He don't train like Khabib
He's
does.
forgetting things about
He's not
his
in the
work
mountains
and
of
his life,
fucking
and
Dagestan.
he's been having dreams featuring people he doesn't recognize and places he's never been.
Smish. I smish fish.
It's clear that his proximity to 3000 is greatly affecting his memories, as he is unsure if he's even married.
That is terrifying, dude. I hate the ocean so much. Like, that is what the ocean is. You can't see shit under you. It's just miles of nothing. For real, the Loch Ness Monster is like nothing compared to this thing.
or if he has children, despite having 5
The
of them.
Loch Ness Monster is getting up into
He does
people's
see
heads? I don't
3000
think so.
in his mind, however, and at this point he
Yeah, the
begins
ocean is
discussing
terrifying.
Anantashesha, the king of serpents in Hinduism, that lies beneath the god Vishnu in the cosmos.
Vishnu. That's
He
a good
recalls
god.
that his mother told him once that when the light of the universe had gone out, Anantashesha would be all that is left, past the end of time. He believes that SCP-3000 is Anantashesha, a god that exists across all of time simultaneously. He says,
That's a
in
crazy idea.
defiance of the nothingness that comes after this, all of this, there is Anantashesha. There's a chance that my memories might live on, that I might be remembered, like the memories
Yeah, clear
I've seen
ocean
have
is
been
fine.
through
It's
me.
like when you can't see, like even
I
the
don't-
reservoir. It's like I don't want to
I
fuck
don't
with
have
that,
proof
bro.
of this.
There could be a shark in there.
When
Yeah,
I
I have
looked
no
into its
idea.
eyes and saw what it showed me,
That's
I
what I'm
was afraid.
saying. This thing could be real. We have no idea. This thing could live in Mariana's Trench. We don't know because we haven't
I'm
explored it
merely
enough.
a mediocre man, Anon. This was a fear that I refused to
The
acknowledge
Meg is
for
still
years.
out there tearing
A
shit up.
fear of irrelevance.
Now that's just
That
Khabib.
no one will know
He's the
who
Meg.
I am when I die. Afraid of being forgotten. Afraid of my life being meaningless. Afraid of being alone. Afraid of dying. There is a terror within me that I
Yeah,
cannot
they got
reconcile,
headlights.
Anon.
Isn't
I
that
won't lie to
crazy?
you.
There's a
Tell you
fish
the
that
law
built
of
a
the Naga
headlight.
does not terrify me as well. But between this and the infinite dark I have
That's what I'm
gazed
saying,
into,
man. There's way too much out there that
I've
we
made up my
don't know
mind.
about the ocean. Just stay the fuck away.
Dr. Krishnamurthy was held in containment for 2 days before being released. 3 hours later, he approaches the airlock to the submarine while weeping and prepares to open it. Proximity alarms begin to blare as SCP-3000 approaches the submarine. The doctor doctor puts on a diving suit and exits the submarine before anyone can stop him. 3000 approaches him and opens its jaws wide. The last thing the doctor says is that he was wrong and sobs as the eel consumes him. The rest of the crew begin preparing to carry out the ATSAC protocol.
Some doctor goes down there.
From Dr. Manava's journal, in which he discusses that he now has to figure out why Dr. Krishnamurti
your ex is she SCP-3000 just consumes you. You say I was wrong. I'm sorry.
He writes that he's not a very religious man and doesn't believe SCP-3000 to be anything other than an anomalous eel. He racks his brain thinking about his father and his teachings of Hinduism, but cannot recall much, although he blames this less on the eel and more on his own willful forgetfulness. He was allowed to look through Krishnamurti's effects and keep any that he wished, and so for some reason he decides to take a statue of the god Ganesh. Manava is aware that his continual proximity to SCP-3000 is draining his memories, both from his youth and more recently.
Anything underneath you, and the fact that you wouldn't be able to see it either is also fucking scary. Like, it's so dark in the ocean, you wouldn't feel it until it's eating you. You would have no idea it's even there until you feel it chomping down your leg, and you're done. You're done for. There's nothing you could do. You're done at that point.
But can't seem to memorize any of them. We're given a memorandum from the site director that elaborates somewhat on the
cool ship.
909 compound and
I'd love to be a pirate, man. Be so cool.
The Foundation originally believed it to be blood, but it's more akin to a prion slurry.
Yeah, whales are fucking scary too. They're big as shit. Kick the fish, you're like, I'm never going in water again.
Some of the biologists believe that when SCP-3000 consumes a human, it is breaking down some part of their brains that makes them sapient, and the residual substance from this process is Y909. They also found that SCP-3000 is not digesting these humans at all. And their bodies are still inside of it. In other words, SCP-3000 is capable of breaking down and devouring the human mind, causing them to forget their own existence. And the Foundation is purposefully encouraging this in order to create powerful amnestics. The Ethics Committee and the Classification Committee are looking for ways to make this more tolerable, but since the Foundation really depends on these amnestics, the process continues. The final log is another journal page from Dr. Manava. He has been spending a great amount of time studying the effects of SCP-3000, but still has no idea what would cause a sane man to step out of an airlock into its mouth. Earlier that week, he had knocked out a picture of him and his family, and found that there was writing on the other side, with his name, his wife's name, and his daughter's name.
That's scary.
However, the writing was in Dr. Krishnamurti's hand, not his own. This puzzled Manava, and he began to be stressed by the uncertainty of it.
This dude's just fucking drowning down here.
He went into the personnel archives and discovered the truth. The woman was in fact Krishnamurti's first wife, and the girl was one of his daughters. Manava had believed that they were his wife and daughter, but more than that, he had memories of them that he now realized were in fact Krishnamurti's memories. This realization causes him to finally understand exactly what SCP-3000 does. It breaks down and destroys human consciousness, the spark of thought that makes us unique and what we believe to be a soul, and then scatters it.
What a creative idea for a monster.
It leaves a husk behind that is nothing more than electrical signals passing through matter.
Like, that's such a cool idea.
He writes, "If even I can't remember myself, how can I expect anyone else to remember me? I have forgotten my own life, and I am strangely apathetic at this revelation. I will fade into the darkness, as thousands before
Hell to the no.
And thousands
no
after
thanks. I wouldn't even get near that
hole. No one
hole.
will care, as I am forgotten. I do not despair for my own sake, but for us all. You and I, we will all face obliteration. I am not important. You are not important. Vast droplets of irrelevancy, stretching eons in the sea of time. We may fight against it, but our enemy is inevitability. I do not think that the eel is a Nantashesha. I don't think it would matter if it was. What is clear to me now, as I feel myself coming apart, is not that the eel is some mythological creature or divine serpent. Perhaps it's just a primitive creature that eluded us, holding no malice. Perhaps it really is a primordial deity.
That's what he actually looks like.
Resent beneath the surface.
So funny. It's just like this idea of this like mind-controlling 700-mile long eel that just, you know, breaks down your consciousness, and then you have this picture. Like, he looks like he just like goes like.
Is not the harbinger of my demise.
He ruins your entire sense of self.
The eel is not the end of all things. It only shows us what the end looks like. And in spite of everything we might believe, every ideal we hold or providence we pray for, I know this much is true for all of us. Our end will be a forgotten one. Dr. Manava was later discovered near the airlock after consuming a significant amount of raw Y909.
I have not seen the jumping squid. I'll have to go check it out.
He was moved to Site-151 for analysis. SCP-3000 is a dark SCP, and the concept of destroying memories and human consciousness makes what would otherwise just be an enormous eel much more interesting. Existential dread affects many people from time to time throughout their life, and it's not unusual to be concerned with who will remember you, what will they remember you for, and ultimately, your purpose here. Dr. Manava was probably right that SCP-3000 is not a deity that exists throughout all of time, but it is certainly a powerful entity. There are many SCPs that can kill, or maim, or horrify humans, but there aren't that many that can destroy what it means to be human, and that makes SCP-3000 pretty unique.
That is very unique. That is a really cool idea for a monster. Someday soon, perhaps in 40 years, there will be no one alive who has ever known me. That's when I will be truly dead. When I exist in no one's memory, I thought a lot about how someone very old is the last living individual to have known some person or cluster of people. When that person dies, the whole cluster dies too, vanishes from the living memory. I wonder who that person will be for me, whose death will make me truly dead. That's a cool quote. That shit is fucking crazy, dude. That's such a cool idea for a monster, though. Damn, that was a good video, though. That dude was a good narrator.